Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. As you know, I am absolutely in love with Stellar Blade, and I want to do a quick video that just sort of goes over what type of game it is, because there's a lot of videos talking about a lot of different stuff, but I never really seen it laid out so that you can understand the structure, the genre, and just sort of what to expect if you want to go into it, because I really think that everyone should give this game a shot. At its heart, the game is a character action RPG, basically something like Devil May Cry, a little bit like Final Fantasy 16 in a way. If you've played that before, Nier Automata, games like that that have sort of like a stage structure, feel a little bit more arcadey, and have combos, parries, and evades. Now definitely for the very early start of the game before you get used to stuff, and also for bosses, it turns very much like Sekiro. There's a lot of dodging, waiting for your window, exploiting the window, guarding and parrying, waiting for your next window, and whittling down the shield of the enemy. But for the most part, you'll eventually get stronger, and you'll be able to sort of hack and slash your way through a lot of parts of the game, and really enjoy the environmental puzzles, the storytelling, stuff like that, and just the style of it. The structure of the game is very easy to understand. This is one area where I often get lost in these games. Sometimes it's too arcadey, and sometimes it's too open world and I don't know where to go. You'll never have this problem in this game. It will always tell you where you need to go, and often give you shortcuts to get there because the action is really at the center here, not the traversal. So you start off with 807, which is a traditional stage. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Then you unlock the hub town of Xion. This will slowly grow, and you'll get more side missions as you progress through the game. But this links into two different areas, which are unlocked at different times, which are sort of like open areas. You have the Wasteland and the Great Desert. Almost everything in here is purely optional. There's lots of side quests that involve the characters that live in Xion, and you can unlock a lot of really cool parts, outfits, optional stuff, you name it. But the more mandatory parts are there's two what I call survival stages. In these ones, you can't use your blade, you can only use your blaster. They're dimly lit, environmental puzzles, almost like Dead Space or Biohazard. Like there's much more tricky puzzle shooter stages. These are shorter, they're about 45 minutes to an hour long. Then you've got Matrix 11, which is another full-on stage. Eidos 9, which is a missable but optional stage, which is awesome. And then you have the big finale, which is Spire 4, which is probably about a good 2 hours or more if you want to really look for everything. So overall, gameplay-wise, you're looking at about 15 to 20 hours if you include the cutscenes for just playing through the critical path. If you want to do sort of like all the side quests, which I highly recommend, because there's just so much collectibles and things to do, and it's so easy, like marked, that'll take you about 35 to 45 hours depending on how you play. And there are 3 endings to the game that you can go back in New Game Plus to do, and all the outfits and stuff that you get in the full game. In New Game Plus, you get to retain all of your levels, everything you've unlocked, your money, your items. And anytime you pick up a new cosmetic, like an outfit, instead of getting the same thing twice, you'll get a color variant. So there's lots of reasons to go in for New Game Plus. Maybe just get yourself stronger so you can take the game on at hard mode, but lots of replayability and very little fat here. It's just really good red meat. Now the most important part of this game is the action, and this is what I like because I can't do the more complicated combo systems of a game like Devil May Cry. This one is more compact. You've got like 4 main combos for your light attacks, 4 for your heavy attacks. They're stylish, effective, each have different lengths. Because again, you're going to be playing in windows between attack from enemies, and you'll just be able to choose whatever you want just for style, and also just, you know, whatever you can fit in given the amount of window that you have. So here I am just showing off all the light combos that you can do, starting with the light attack. They're all really similar in damage, I would say, so I don't think it's like, you know, you're going to find that one combo you're going to spam over and over again. It's more about just choosing whatever you like and where it moves you, especially if you're playing on hard mode. The positioning of some of these combos can really help you out. For example, there's this attack here that'll zoom you forward and get you out of harm's way and do a lot of damage at the same time. And basically just, yeah, it's pure style and just having fun. And it looks absolutely fantastic. They did a really good job on the animations here. Like I said though, at the base of all the boss battles, countering and evading is very important. Luckily there are a bunch of different gear items in the game that will make the windows more forgiving. So I definitely don't think that this game is severe like Sekiro was. it'll definitely be much easier for you to get used to doing all these parrying and the counters. Plus, you can just guard while you have shield, and you can just learn the timing of the attacks. That way, if you know that he does like a 2-hit, then a 3-hit, then you can evade and parry and do moves from there. Super stylish. Now, to spice things up and to also give you that power fantasy, they have beta skills. Later in the game, you unlock the burst skills. There's a limit break mode, which I won't talk about because of spoilers, and you've got your blaster. Beta, you're just going to hold down L1, and then the 4 buttons are going to become 4 different attacks that you can do. You just saw the Infinite Pierce. Here comes the Infinite Breaker, which will smash through shields. If you have a lot of crowd control or ranged attacks, you can go ahead and do this top option here, or not the top, sorry, the one on the right. This is going to be the Infinite Wave. You can follow that up with attacks. And as you play the game and you defeat enemies, whether you die or not, the game doesn't penalize you. You're always going to be accruing these SP points, which you can use then to unlock new skills or power them up, add in more stun value. So you can sort of focus on the skills that you personally enjoy first, and then eventually you'll just have them all unlocked. Later in the game, you unlock sort of like a separate version. These are called bursts. This is just for more variety, more action. These are charged up every time you do like perfect evades, so they're a little bit more rare than the beta skills, but super over the top, very stylish and very powerful. So this is me just showing off those 4. Again, it's less about, you know, doing combos and more about just choosing whatever is right for the situation and whatever feels right. Then finally, to add in that last bit of spice, there are 2 types of special dodges. There's this blue type, when it sparkles, that lets you know it's coming, then boom, right here, you want to hold the L stick away from the attack and press circle to evade, and that will do a snazzy dodge called a blink. And if it's purple, you want to put the left stick away from the attack and press circle, and that will do an attack called repulse. So these are just ways that they mix up the sort of rhythm of the battles. But really, I think if you play the demo, you can probably get at least a very fundamental feeling of how it goes. But the rhythm of the boss battles are absolutely fantastic, and you really do hit this type of flow state because at its core, it really is just about parrying, evading, and exploiting windows. It's just really fun to beat stuff up and break machines and funky looking aliens to really, really interesting soundtrack, which is phenomenal to say the least. Ooh yeah. And of course, there are the light RPG elements, which is sort of these exospines, which you'll earn as you play the game. These are more really big fundamental changes to your character, sort of, you know, maybe it's enlarging the window for perfect parries or evades, if that helps, like for myself. Or you might have ones that, you know, raise your critical hits or, you know, enhance your combos, make it so you can do betas more often, stuff like that. And then you just have these gears, which you'll eventually unlock up to 4 of them. And these are great sort of rewards that you get for doing side quests and exploration, which will augment your skills, sort of like, you know, any skill that you would have in like Monster Hunter. Then everything else that you can earn here is aesthetic only, which I think is the right move. So you can dress Eve up however you like. You've got glasses. You've got, of course, like I think there's over 70 outfits. Half of them are color palettes, but that's like 35 original costumes. All really wonderful. Great rewards for doing exploration and quests, but you can dress her up however you like, and you don't have to worry about it affecting your gameplay. There's a slew of earrings, and there's even a few outfits for the supporting characters, which is nice. And I don't see people mentioning it much, but the UI is really good. It's not over-designed. It's not over-sanitized, where it's like so simple and uses like that Google Drive type of UI where you're trying to figure out what an icon means. Like everything is super intuitive. Everything's laid out very pretty, very easy to use. The maps are nice for the open world areas, and the skill trees are very easy to understand, and they've got previews showing you what unlocks what and so forth. So huge props to the game for the wonderful UI. Now I'll cover some of the quality of life that I really like, but I want to show you off just what the main content is. So this is Eidos 7, this is where the demo takes place, and this is the first world that you start the game in. And worlds, you don't have a map, which I absolutely love, because normally when I have mini-maps on stages, I end up watching the mini-map more than I watch the stage. Because of this, they don't have super complicated stage design, but they do have a lot of hidden areas and paths, very well hidden, with tons of great rewards that you can find. Each stage is split up into about 8 to 9 different major areas, each with their own sort of objective or puzzle or something to solve. Usually it's pretty simple. It's, hey, something's locked or blocked and we need to go find something to fix it. You find it, you do some battles, maybe a sub-boss or a main boss, unlock it, go to the next area. All the areas are really fun themed, very well designed, I think, especially once you know your way around. It's very fun to just run around and zip through everything really fast because you're an expert at it. So this is the first level. I'm just showing the middle area here because I was going here to drain the water which had flooded the town. This was one of the few cases where you can do a major side mission that brings you back to a previous stage. But until you hit like the end game, like the point of no return, which the game is very clear about, you can go back into any previous stage and just sort of, use your scanner like I'm doing here. Anything blue is something that you've already interacted with, anything orange is something you haven't, and red, of course, are the enemies. So it's very easy for the completionist to go at this without a guide. I think that's one of the great things I love about it, because so many games these days are so obtuse that if you don't go onto a wiki, you're not going to figure it out. This game, because the scanner function is so well done and the stages are compact enough that you can see it, generally you'll be able to spot something that you've missed if you use your scanner diligently and you look around in all directions. I like this a lot, and it allowed me to get my 100% playthrough without getting stuck pretty much at all in my first time through. Yes, they have comical yellow paint showing you where you can jump, but you know what? I love it. The game embraces it. The idea here is when it's harder to figure out, they make the gameplay simple. When the idea is that they want it to be hard gameplay and battles, they'll make figuring it out very easy. They never do both at the same time, so it knows very well what it's asking you to do. They're asking you to show off your power and how you can handle crowds. They're not going to make the environment that complicated, and so forth, which I really appreciate. I feel like there's a great focus here on design. When I go into each little area, I kind of know what to expect. And I do think that little thing charging above the triangle button on the bottom right there, that's the triangle button. If you hold it down, you do this sort of like rush attack. I think that's a really good game design decision as well, because most times you're going to have a little downtime between encounters. This allows you to just zip right to the next encounter and start it off, and it essentially replaces the need for a sprint button while you're inside of a stage, because it allows you to get around so fast. So anyways, here's me just going around using the scanner, showing you how to just sort of explore, make sure that you're not missing stuff and just trying to find your way. They've got nice little guide markers at the top of the screen letting you know, is your objective in this direction, is it above you, below you, stuff like that. Get some chest here, and yeah, so I'm just going back to this stage here now to drain the water using this console, and that will open up a whole new part of this beginning level. So if anything, I would say the first level is a little bit more rich than perhaps the other ones minus the last level. But yeah, hopefully this gives you an idea of sort of what the exploration looks like inside of a stage. It really is its own little world. Again, about an hour and a half to 2 hours per each one of these, depending on how much exploration you want to do, and you can always go back later. A few side quests will have you come back to get some items, which is always fun. But yeah, really great design. Now, I was just coming back here for a side quest, and one of the great things this game does, whether it's just something stupid around town or a larger mission, anytime you complete a side quest, you get the option to just return straight to the person who gave it to you. Doesn't matter if you're inside of a stage, if you're out in the open world parts, if you're still in the town. It's a wonderful way to zip back if that's really what your objective was to go and knock that out. Otherwise, you'll just need to teleport to the beginning part of a stage, and then you can take the ship out and go back to town. But this just makes it much easier. And I'm not going to show it off too much here, but this is the main town of Zion. The reason why I like this hub town so much is because it's not that big. Games with crazy huge hub towns I can't stand. Like, I don't need 6 vendors for weapons, just give me one and make the map 6 times smaller. I like the compactness of it, and there's story reasons as well on why this makes sense, and it gets a little bit more active and populated as you progress through the game. So great idea with the smaller map design and all these telephones that allow you to teleport around, just making it very stress-free. Again, if you're going through just the critical path, you won't actually need to engage in these 2 open world, the Great Desert and the Wasteland, all that much. They're really more there for side content, exploration, fishing mini game, a lot of puzzles with the environment for finding new outfits and stuff like that. It's really fun and great, but they don't shove it down your throat. Great quality of life thing once you're running. If you're not engaged in a battle, you'll start sprinting like insanely fast, which will allow you to get around. You can teleport between camps that you've unlocked. There's tons of camps everywhere. It's a great place to just practice and do battle and gain experience points so you can unlock and buff up your character, because again, there's no penalty for dying. You just go back to the last camp that you rested at with everything intact, so you're always progressing. You're not going to lose any of your progress. So it just makes exploration much more fun, less stressful, and always worth it because the rewards are great. But this is the open world, and because it is open and it's just a very large map, you do have a lot of environmental puzzles, and you do get a map with it that you can track where you're at and what you're doing. Yes, as you can see here, there is gore in the game. You will not get your beautiful outfits coated in blood, which is something I personally like because I like the outfits in the game. But there is a lot of really wonderful effects that go on as you're hacking and slashing these alien things to bits. But here you're seeing all the elements come together here. Even with non-boss characters, there's always like these stronger types of enemies that will really challenge you. Some will make you parry, some will make you react more, and some are just there so you can beat them up and charge energy so you can do special attacks. This is the camp here. You can use camps, you can unlock them in a very nice way. From here you can upgrade anything, you can unlock new skills, you can teleport to other camps using this phone. You can rest, which will reset all the enemies and also replenish all of your automatic potions and stuff like that. Very Soulsborne, if you ask me. But yeah, the open worlds are just really fun. This is the open desert, so it's a little wide, where the wasteland is a little bit more compact. But there are those two survival stages that are located in each one of the opener world parts. So you'll have to do a trial to get into them, which is really fun. It's just a sort of sub-boss here. Again, it's more about not hack and slash, but more about understanding your windows, understanding the attack pace. This is very bad gameplay because I was really nervous. But you sort of get the idea, and it's really nice. This plays again like Sekiro, where the rest of the game is a little bit more DMC. Okay, before I show you that shooter stage, I should show you the shooting, of course. You have the slugs, which the game will give you copious amounts of. It's not a game where you need to go around finding ammo. Like, you can buy it and have it. You have explosive shells, which you get a limited amount of, which are very nice. I must also say the game does a great job of the haptics on the DualSense controller. Lots of good weight to each one of these pulls. You've got these stinger cannons, you've got a blaster coil in case you need to, or a cell, in case you have a very long line of different enemies that need to get blasted all in one. For the most part, all of this extra ammo is just for fun. You can do the entire game with just the slugs. Maybe on hard mode, you might want some explosives and shotguns in some points, but for the most part, it's just variety for good fun. Let's go into the stages now so I can show you how those work. Now, I do have to apologize. These stages are dark, but this is a little bit darker than it normally is. I just can't seem to quite understand how to mess with the Elgato and the HDR settings that I have the game on, but there's all these recharge ammo stations in almost every room at the end of them. So the game isn't forcing you to go find or manage your ammo. What it's trying to do is have you figure out the puzzles. Like, what do you need to do or get past the enemies? So I love the game that is willing to just give you ammo like crazy, because that's not the point of the game. So this one, we start off with a really fun environment. I wouldn't say puzzle, but at first, if you don't know what to do, it can be a little fun to see all the deaths that you get here. And when you die, you start right back up. Very fast loading, so no stress. But this is just a good old classic arcade type of, hey, here's an environmental puzzle, can you get through it? So this is navigating the, what would you call those things? Spinning razor blades? Turbines? I don't know. But the game does a very good job of marking where you need to go in cases in which the traversal is time sensitive or more acrobatic. And again, I just really appreciate that, because if you know what to do and it's just hard to do it, that's fine. But if it's hard to do and it's hard to figure out what to do, that can be very frustrating. And I find myself just stopping playing a lot of games because of stuff like that. So here we got a blaster here. Sorry for the nasty footage, but you just have to destroy this tentacle thing, and that will turn off the generator to open up the path. So that's room 1 done. You could think of this almost like Saw, like each room has its own little challenge that you need to get through, and there's about 10 rooms for this stage. So again, about an hour long, with a bunch of cutscenes in between that are really fun. And yeah, lots of replenish ammo things all around, and you can buy new ammo and everything. So here we are going into the closed lobby, and you can get sort of the dark, what do you call it, like the Dead Space thing. You get these aliens that are for some reason carrying on like these humans, like as luggage, which is really fun, and they blow up. So just lots of things like this door's locked, gotta find the key. Oh gosh, there's a jump scare here. There's an environment puzzle here we gotta figure out. Nothing too complicated. You can't use your scanner in these levels, which is why they designed them so intuitive and easy to do. I have to imagine that they play tested them a lot, because I never found myself stuck. If I was stuck, it was just enough to get me to stop, think, look around, and go, ah, that's what it was. So really good game balancing here. Another great part of this game I want to show off at least one example of without going too deep into the game is how well it does large, like breathtaking vistas or just like environments, like repeating geometry, stuff like that. You can't tell because I didn't record this in 4K, but the game is just absolutely breathtaking. When you get into these bigger, larger spaces, it's just, you kind of have to just stop and like appreciate it every time you go through. It's very cool. I really enjoyed the platforming in the game, but I understand that some people don't. Luckily, it's not that many parts of the game that have complicated platforming. It's more about just the experience. But for, you know, these sections, if you do enjoy this type of gameplay, I found it incredibly interesting and fun. Again, the visuals, my recording here does not do it justice. This game is just absolutely gorgeous. If you find yourself getting stuck, you do have a hint system where you can hit a button and it will give you a hint at what you should be looking for. Just something to nudge you in the right direction, which I thought was another good idea. And that's really it. I just wanted to give you guys an overview of what the game is like gameplay-wise, what the features are, what the structure is, and why I really enjoy it. I hope you give it a shot. I have noticed that the English dub is really weird in a lot of places. It feels like it just had bad voice direction and a bad script. But you can play it with other languages as the dub. For example, Korean, which your mileage may vary. Unfortunately, the Japanese VO, which I'm playing with, is only on the Japanese version of the game because they weren't able to, I guess, afford or pay the global rights for the voice actors. The Japanese dub is fantastic if you have that as an option. But overall, I think the story is serviceable. It's very fun and interesting, not too complicated. And the game itself is just very easy and fun to play. So I'm on my 5th playthrough. I just can't stop playing it. It's just fun, especially when you know what to do. It's sort of like you're speedrunning it and just going through the steps again and just having a good time and trying out new things. But overall, I think it is my game of the year so far. I don't think that'll hold for the rest of the year because we do have Dawn Trail, the Elden Ring DLC, and a whole bunch of other games coming out. But this was a surprise for me. I was expecting just a semi-fun action game with pretty visuals, and ended up being a really comprehensive, user-friendly, wonderful gaming experience. So can't wait to see what they have planned for this game in the future. They've definitely got a fan in me, and hopefully you'll check it out yourself. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and overview, and if you like these types of videos where I kind of break down the structure of a game more than I am talking about tips or stuff like that, or a review, let me know, because this type of almost presentation format is something that I really enjoy doing. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy slashing.